Hello, everyone. Joel Phillips here, CEO of ProShark, Director of Technology at Strategic Advisor Board. We're here with episode number 22 of Ultimate Tech Talk. Today, the course of last week and this week, we've been looking at CMS systems and security performance, which one we choose and use, and why. Today we're going to take a few days and go into comparisons between different CMS systems. And what I want to stress here is there's no right or wrong solution. There's ones that fit into certain categories. There's CMS platforms that serve certain purposes. Um, these purposes, you might be looking at e-commerce, you might be looking at performance, you might be looking at stylization, you might be looking at any one of a number of components of a CMS that we've already discussed. I don't want to dig back into that. Certainly encourage you to go back and watch previous episodes if you haven't, where we go through some of the nuts and bolts of CMS platforms. But what we want to look at today is, how do you choose the right one for you? Which one is, and from that perspective, from a development perspective, we're not agnostic. We have a choice here at ProShark, but we work with multiple technologies. We can do anything: WordPress, Bootstrap, Shopify, optimization, custom development, all of that stuff we do on a daily basis. But there are certain factors within each CMS that may make it a better choice for you and what you're trying to achieve with your website. So for probably the rest of the week, we're going to dig a little bit into the differences between various CMS platforms and the major players. I mean, we can't look at all of them, unfortunately, but the ones that you will find as choices for you. And we're going to take a look at them and see what makes them maybe a better choice for you, or what maybe there's some factor that you haven't considered. And that's what we're going to try and look at a little bit and see if we can help you make that determination. And if you're looking to move or migrate, it's something that we do all the time. So certainly send in. We aren't going to be able to cover every single scenario over the next few episodes. So please make sure and send in your questions. Tech tip, TECHTIP at proshark.com, and we'll try and answer them for you. We get a lot of questions, so we try to get to them as quickly as possible. But if you send it in today and it's about this subject, we'll try and get it answered for you within this series, because we certainly want to make sure that you have all of the information you need to make the right choice for you. That said, let's dig in. And the first thing we want to do is take a look at what we've been discussing, which is Core Web Vitals performance. And we want to demonstrate some of the different platforms and where they fall from a performance perspective. As we said yesterday, we use a DUDA framework. We use a hybrid DUDA framework with custom development, and we are really pleased with this platform. If you notice here, DUDA falls at the top of the performance matrix from a Core Web Vitals. This is from our friends over at Data Studio, so it's not us reporting on our own platform. They've taken a lot of different data points and combined them to come up with the scoring for this. Squarespace, you can see, is another major player. There are a few that got left off, so we'll try and cover those as well. Wix, they fall right in the middle of the road, and Drupal is not as widely used in the United States. It's a pretty big international player. However, there are plenty of Drupal sites here in the States. Joomla is another one that's not rated here, but they are very similar CMS platforms. And then, of course, WordPress, which is the elephant in the room with over 40% market share. So these are the Core Web Vital rankings. This is just a starting point for us to take a look at what one of the factors that you may want to consider when you're taking a look at which CMS platform you want to utilize. So that said, happy to share any information if your CMS isn't considered in that chart that we just looked at. Let us know, and we'll certainly get that rating for you. The one thing I want to say before we start digging in, and we're just about out of time for today, so we'll probably just tee this up, and then get started digging into each different comparison going forward for the rest of the week. So the one thing I want to say is that each of these CMSs, and I'll give you a for instance here. If you want to look at e-commerce, a platform like Dude is good. It's solid. Platform like WordPress is solid. The one thing with WordPress I would be concerned with, and we're going to dig into e-commerce much more in depth probably next week. But the one thing I want to say is there are different tools for different functions. If you look at doing an e-commerce store, you can look at BigCommerce, you can look at Shopify. They have a lot of tools available. And one of the things I like about Shopify is they've got a really good reporting suite. But look at not just where you're going to be today with your CMS. Make sure you take a look at scalability and what that CMS will provide for you down the road. Because a lot of migration requests we get are from people who they just saw and they compared based on what they needed right then, right at that point in time. And where we run into a lot of trouble is the expense at a certain level, is the ability of a platform to perform at a certain level. So please make sure that you can even take advantage of our website assessment form. Please make sure that you take into consideration where you want to be 5 years, 10 years from now, because as you move into a website platform, and we're happy to help you with make that determination no matter what your situation, but as you move into a website platform, it will make a difference today. And yes, there's some expense if you need to change your mind, but it will be 100 times more difficult after your website has grown, after it's become entrenched in a certain technology. So it's really critical that you try and take a look down the road a little bit. And again, we're happy to help you do that. If you have any questions while we get started in this series, please email us techtip, TECHTIP @proshark.com. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.